God's life based on a time of hardship I was going through in my life, and the fortunate gratitude that I had at the end of it when my faith got me through it all. In life, gratitude can lead to greatness. When you're stuck at the bottom, gratitude turns that nothing into something. When you're at an all-time low, that gratitude will lift you high. It can bring clairvoyance, peace, and resonate with calm, even in the most chaotic of times. Every day you should live to the fullest, because tomorrow is never promised, something my beloved mom told me in a harsh time. We've had our share of hardships that we managed to overcome, which lets me understand these words deeply. But I never realized just how meaningful these words were until she was on death's doorstep. I can remember it like it was just yesterday. The cold, eerily silent halls of the hospital and the sounds of mechanical heartbeats of machinery. Hospitals were supposed to be a place of care and health, but in the late night, it felt like something straight from a horror movie. When I was there, I had slept in a futon, blanketed by a thin sheet and a single hard piece of cloth. I passed time by counting the beeps of the heart monitor. I was restless, burdened by anxiety. It was hard for my mom to speak with the plethora of medications she'd been put on, as well as the constant nurse visits. Our chats were short. When we did speak, it made my heart throb and an ache. She was so ghoulish and pale, with weak, almost popcorn-like breaths and coughs, that I couldn't stand to make eye contact. She'd suffered a heart attack and a stroke at the same time, and yet she still held on. A boy, as young as I was, only 15 years old, shouldn't have had to endure watching his own mother hang by a thread. Often, she would take my hand and try to talk about the hopes of the future to make it easier. I'd ask her things like, "You'll see me graduate, won't you?" And she would smile at me, as difficult as it might have been, and nod solemnly, too drugged and too tired to even string 4 words together. But one time, she forced herself to. She took my hand with her cold, slender fingers and interlapsed them around mine tightly. She looked into my eyes with her sunken hazel irises and told me, "You need to stop worrying and live today to the fullest, because I can't promise tomorrow." What was just a whisper felt like a mighty shout to my very soul. I can remember vividly how my chest clenched and my heart threatened to jump from my throat. With blurry vision and tears, I still managed to smile at her and made a promise that day to spend every day cherishing what time I had with her left and to live it to the fullest. The next few weeks in the hospital were frequent visits and a few hours to talk, play board games, or do homework. I knew she wasn't good at math, but I knew that her being able to help in any way soothed her. As the days went by, she was finally dismissed from the hospital with a wheelchair, which I volunteered to push. It was hard for her to move around, and the stairs became her worst enemy. She would lose her breath so quickly that it scared me to see her collapse at the top of the stairs. Even then, I promised her to not let it get to me. We took it as progress for every step taken. No matter how many times I had to make dinner for her or help her out of bed, I kept myself happy and grateful for what I still had. Then before I knew it, years later, I saw my mother with healthy skin and a bright smile, running with the dogs, cooking the whole family delicious tacos every Tuesday, and talking to me about my graduation this year. My faith kept us going, and to this day, I couldn't be more grateful to walk the stage and take my diploma with her beside me.